Welcome back. This is Nikki of Nikki's Homemade Crafts, and today we're going to do part 2 of the Happy Heads Mystery Crochet Along. It's a free mystery crochet along, and we already worked on part 1. If you missed it, go back and watch it so that way you can follow along with us. Let me remind you really quickly of why it's called the Happy Heads Mystery Crochet Along. We're going to make a hat pattern that will make you smile for days, for anyone wearing it or for anyone seeing it. So it's going to be a lot of fun finishing this one up. We already worked on part 1, which is this hat part right here. You hopefully did it and took a picture of it and posted it into the group so that way everyone could celebrate you. Now we're going to work on part 2. Let me remind you really quickly of what yarn I'm using. I'm using Lime Brand's Mandala Gradient yarn in the color Hot Pink. I'm using 2 of these cakes or balls, whatever you want to call it, which is roughly, don't quote me on it, about 400 yards that we're going to use for this pattern. This is a worsted yarn. It is not a DK yarn. I understand mandala yarn is available in both DK and worsted yarn. This is a worsted yarn. I'm also using a 4mm crochet hook for this pattern. You can get the free to view pattern on our website, nikkishomemade.crafts.com. There's a link down below. Once you click it, you're being sent over to our website. You're going to find a table of content and you're going to expand it and you're going to click the written instructions for this pattern for part 2 or whatever it says, so that way you can jump right to it and keep going and crocheting this amazing pattern, which makes everyone smile in the end. Anyways, that one's a free to view pattern with ads. If you prefer a ad-free option and that is printer friendly, you may want to join the Crochet Club. You can join as a monthly, quarterly, or annual member. You can even join as a trial member right now if you wish to do so. It will get you access to this pattern ad-free and printer friendly for 7 days before you become a full member automatically after. Now, what do you get access to as a full member? As a full member, you get access to over 400 ad-free patterns, including exclusive patterns. You're being taught exactly what you want to be taught every single week, live with me, teaching you every Tuesday in the Crochet Club. There's a poll, you can vote on it, and oh my gosh, we have so much fun. Plus, we meet twice a month on Zoom and have a little crochet chat, so we talk all about crochet, yarn, and projects that are coming up. So if you want to join this fun community, which is very positive, very supportive, and very, very helpful, then come join us in the Crochet Club. Now let's go into part 2. For part 2, you're going to start with a chain of 18, and you're going to pull out the loop, the very last one, and you're going to fold this in half to make sure nothing gets twisted. You're going to take your first chain right here, go through with your hook, and pull that loop through. Okay, like so. I like to go into the back bump of it, but you can totally go in the front loop or back loop. Let me remind you, front loop, back loop, and if you turn it around slightly, there's the back bump, okay? Now the very first round is just going to be made in double crochet stitches, and so are the rest of the rounds as well, with a few increases later on. But if you want to make the very first round as a foundation round, then you can totally do that as well, meaning as a foundation double crochet round where you're crocheting the chain and the first row at the same time. That's fine. Just remember that you need to close the gap in the end when you turn it into rounds. Okay, I made it into a circle already, and I'm going to start right here in the very first chain, okay, that I went into where my loop is still attached to. I'm going to go in and make my alternative turning chain. I taught you that in part 1, so if you don't remember, go back, okay? It's just a stacked single crochet right on top of each other, 2 of them, which are equivalent to a double crochet stitch. You're now going to crochet in the entire round in just double crochet stitches. Now keep in mind that you should end up with 18 stitches for the entire row, okay? So when you made your loop through, make sure you still end up with 18 stitches. So even though we made a chain of 18, you should still end up with 18 stitches in the end. So count your stitches before you keep going. Once you finish the round, make sure you do a slip stitch. As I like to do, I always do the invisible slip stitch. So I go into the very first stitch from the back to the front and I pull it back. It's more kind of like a relocation of the loop, but it works as a slip stitch. You are now going to continue crocheting double crochet stitches every single round until you have 21 rounds of double crochet stitches. So you're literally just going to make an alternative turning chain or some kind of equivalent of a double crochet stitch, and then you're going to do double crochet stitches in every stitch. You're going to have 21 rounds, and then we're going to start doing some increases and decreases. Okay, so do your 21 rounds. Pause this video beforehand and come back to it, because now I'm going to teach you what happens after. So instead of me crocheting 21 rounds right now, I'm just going to show you what happens in round 22. Okay, so in round 22, so pretend I just did 21 rounds in total. This is round 1 down here, by the way. Okay, 21 rounds in total of double crochet stitches, 18 stitches per round. We're now going into round 22. In round 22, you're going to start with an alternative turning chain or some kind of equivalent of a double crochet stitch. And in the next stitch, you're going to crochet 2 double crochet stitches. Okay. Once you've done that, you're going to repeat that. So 1 double crochet stitch, then 2 double crochet stitches. So let's do that. So 1 double crochet, then 2 double crochet stitches. Now you're going to do this until the end of the round. You're going to stop where whatever the last stitch is, and then you're going to make a slip stitch. Once you're done, you have finished your round 22 with increases all the way around, but not in every stitch. So it's 1 double crochet, then increase, 1 double crochet, increase, and so forth. You're now going to crochet 2 rounds of just double crochet stitches. So 1 stitch per stitch. Okay. I'm going to skip doing that because you know how to do this at this point. So round 23 and 24, you are going to crochet just double crochet stitches all the way around. Okay. Now in round 25, which is your last round, you're going to do decreases. So let me show you what we're going to do. For round 25, pretend I just did 24 rounds, so now we're going to do round 25. You're going to do decreases all the way around. So let me show you how that looks like when you do it with an alternative turning chain, okay? Because that some people don't know how to do. So let me show you. So first, you're obviously going to start with a single crochet, okay? You're going to insert your hook into the loop that's closest to your yarn finger, yarn over, and pull through. Now, typically at this stage, you would do a yarn over and pull through, but here you're going to stop right here. Okay, at this stage you're going to stop. You're now going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2. You are at the same stage right here as you would for regular double crochet decrease. Okay, you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So there is your decrease. So you just did that with an alternative turning chain at the same time. How cool is that? You probably have never done that before, right? So now let's do regular double crochet decreases. You're going to do this all the way around. The last stitch may just be a regular double crochet stitch. That's fine. Okay, so let's do this. So a regular double crochet decrease looks like this. So you do yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. You have 2 loops on your hook. Now you go into the next stitch. Again, do an unfinished double crochet stitch like so. And then you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. Now go ahead and do these double crochet decreases all the way around. If you end up with 1 stitch left over in the end without a decrease, that's fine. And once you're done, it's going to look like this. Now you can tell why I used a little lighter color in the tutorial, because you can tell that neon is not good for cameras. So what it's going to look like is like this, and you're going to have an opening right here. Okay, we're going to close close up this opening together so you can see how this looks like. So let me show you how this works. So you're going to attach your needle, obviously. Make sure you have about a yard or so in yarn, so you have enough to go around it and then weave in your ends. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through the front loops only for the entire round. So all you have to do is go weave in your yarn like so, all the way around. And when you're done, you're going to pull it closed. And it's going to look like this. So somehow you're going to make a knot here somewhere to make sure nothing comes undone. So I like to really pull it and make sure everything is nice and tight, and then hold tight on it and then make your knot. Pull nice and tight, and then what you can do is you can go all the way around one more time if you like to make the hole a little bit closer. That can sometimes help. It's not too necessary. If there's a tiny gap, that's totally fine, but go ahead and weave in your ends at this stage and then cut your yarn. And then you're going to make a second one, so that way you have two pieces. They're going to look like this, ideally, which I should have mentioned at the beginning, but it's not too important in case you didn't do it. It's nice to have a little bit of a yarn end here at the beginning. So when you first started, make your yarn end a little bit longer, okay? So about a foot or two. I'll make sure to write that in the written instructions. If you don't, that's fine. You can always add new yarn to it for the sewing process later, but it's nice if you already have it available. So for both of them, make it about a yard or so that you're going to add onto it before you're going to start crocheting your first round. Okay, so you have two pieces like this. So you're going to have this roundness happening down here on both ends, and this is just flat. Now you can see how my color transition is happening. So obviously you can tell that this was right after the beanie. I went down here, this got darker and darker, and then I started over here with the same color, believe it or not, this is the same. Okay, and then went darker and darker. So that's how it looks like so far. Okay, now this is part 2. I do want to point something out. I mentioned in part 1 that for those who are making the hat a little smaller, they're going to have to make an adjustment. Remember I said that there is a few inches, whatever you're short of 8 inches from the adult size, you're going to have to add onto it here. So I said you have to do 21 rounds over here. Okay, so if you're doing it, let's say, let's pretend again, a toddler size, and you had 6 inches for the hat, so obviously there's 2 inches missing, you need to add 2 inches before you start the decreasing process. Okay, so that means in that case you won't do the 21 rounds. Once you did your 21 rounds, you add 2 inches additional to it before you get to the increase decrease part of it. Okay, just that you know. Now if you want to know how long mine is in total, I'm happy to tell you. So the total of it is roughly 13 inches or so. Now before the increasing part started, if you want to know that section, that is about 11 inches. Okay, so that you know that before the increase starts, it's 11 inches. The total of it is about 13 inches. Okay, that is obviously for both pieces exactly the same thing. Now it's time for you to take a picture of this and post it into the Facebook group called Crocheting with Nikki. Add your little bit of a text right there into the post and add your hashtag, so that way I can find you, celebrate you, and everyone else can find you too. And so we can all talk about together the Happy Heads Mystery Crochet Along, because believe it or not, you can inspire someone else to join this Mystery Crochet Along simply by posting about it and using the hashtag. Because you're going to notice that the 48,000 people in that crochet group, not every single one is part of the Mystery Crochet Along and may not have heard about it. So you can inspire someone to join the fun, because it's always more fun with more people, right? Anyways, go ahead and post your picture when you're done. It's also time to guess. Now, some of you guys may be starting to guess what type of hat pattern we're making, but that doesn't mean you know exactly what we're making, because the main part of the hat is still not there, because we're going to work on that in part 3. So in part 3, you're really going to see the reveal of the full thing, so you know exactly what we're making that will make everyone smile all day long. I'm really excited for that. And in part 3, I'm also going to tell you more about the party that's happening on Saturday where I'm giving prizes away. So be sure now to give it a thumbs up. So like this video, comment down below, let us know if you're having fun in this mystery crochet along. Share this video with your crochet besties. You might be inspiring someone else to join the fun as well. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so, and turn on the bell to get a notification next time I publish your video or go live. I'll see you in part 3, right? I'll see you then. Bye-bye.